It looks like we're live. Welcome back to my channel, guys. Hope you all are having a great day. I am exhausted, but I'm like, I've got to come online and continue the work. You got to be disciplined. Got to show up, right? The goal of today is to continue work on the wait list, right? And I also updated the title to be a bit more ambitious, right? You know what they say, aim for the moon or shoot for the stars. If you're lucky, you'll land on the moon, something like that. So I'm trying to be a bit more ambitious here. Welcome, welcome all. All right, so let me share my screen. Just an intro again, because this is still the early phases. Just building some ideas, rapid prototyping, some apps, agentic engineering / vibe coding my way to 100K MRR. And the goal is to get plenty of users to test different ideas, just ideate and build publicly. And also explain my interest and thought process along the way, and hoping to have fun. Just engineering and vibe coding for 30 minutes to an hour a day. Yeah, and I think the consistency is where the compounding will really begin to happen. And so if you're new to agentic coding, the idea is that you don't need to know the underlying implementation. You don't need to learn JavaScript. You don't need to learn Python. You just need to know how to have enough agency to move these AI bots to build for you. So you should be able to imagine, architect, and take feedback from what the agent is telling you and iterate and move rapidly on an idea. Of course, there's a difference between MVP and when you have something production facing, right? So, but the point is, coding has become so democratized that anyone can do this now. Anyone who wants to build anything, you have no excuse anymore. If you have a Claude subscription, you can deploy anything your heart desires. Right? Okay, so what did we add? We add some AWS WAF, right? And some cloud metrics. Yeah, so this basically it's seeing security, having a security first posture on some vibe coded agentic web apps. Because I think a lot of times when people are using AI to code, they're not thinking in terms of security. They're not thinking in terms of scalability, right? So we really want to make sure that that we're able to handle these things. We want to think about this, and the thing about it is, if you don't know, ask your agent. Everyone is just like blaming the guy or the gal who doesn't have the full understanding of software engineering, right? Or enough of a breadth of the field, of the space, to be able to know some things, and that's okay. No engineer knows everything, right? The most important thing is you should be inquisitive, you should ask questions, right? So things like, can this scale up to meet demand when many people need to sign up? Can we reach a million sign up requests? Right. So let's say you don't know the answer to that, right? Instead of just building just to build, you start thinking about scale ahead of time, right? So that's one thing. So the thing I just asked, let me make sure that I'm zooming in so that everyone can see my screen. So I just asked a question, right? I just did a quick security request, right? So unless your prompt, unless your agent has inherent this security first approach, you need to ask it about security, right? And you need to just ask it about scalability, or else it might not have the attention mechanism that focuses on those things that are important and that sometimes get left behind when we're just rapid prototyping. So if you give it the reward, right? If you're saying optimize for this, then it kind of takes that as a I'm looking for the machine learning terminology where it's like a goal, right? It's a reward. I guess that's what it is. Just a reward for where it optimizes its network around your request. And if your request is that it's security first, it's scalability, it's scalable, right? It'll do those things, right? So whatever my saying is, whatever is not codified is left to assumptions. You don't want, as much as possible, you want to not let the AI guess, right? So that's a few things. The next thing, I was talking about, this is about scalability. The next thing is how's the architecture in the code itself. Let's keep things clean and modular, avoid sprawl. With OOP, design system, design architecture. I forget what that's called. Clean code. Okay, so now we're looking at the code itself. Optimize for scalability. With future updates. All right, getting a thing about being live. Yeah, so we have all of these agents, and now there's no limitation, right? If you can think it and it's not impeded by physics and computer science, you can build it. And that's where we are right now. And once upon a time, you needed 4 years to be able to do this kind of stuff, right? 4 years, 2 years, a boot camp, rigorous boot camp to be very comfortable getting into this space. There's no more gatekeepers. The experts of the yesterday are going to be forgotten in this space. Right? Everyone needs to start thinking about how they want to approach software engineering. And what we see is the more agents you can have management over, right? Spread your context, your own context window across these agents that abstract away the implementation of development for you, the better you are in this space, the faster you can produce things in this space. Okay, so the front end is already clean, good component decomposition, typed events, business logic. The fix is to split the backend into proper layers and to fix 2 small front end issues. Okay, so now we're really looking at what it looks like. I guess this is memory management. Success toast leaks timers if unmounted early. So we want to avoid memory leaks, I'm guessing, or some kind of data leak of some kind, right? And of course, once again, this is the current outcome, right? Oh, not me. Oh, not me. Right, so this is what we have so far from yesterday's almost 1 hour vibe session, right? This is what we created. It really took about a span of about 15 minutes. This is full stack, right? There's no request yet for anyone to be able to log in. I think that might be something to think about. Like for the waitlist, do we want people to be logged in here and have the opportunity to immediately go to the app with the correct network setting, like with the correct profile when they're moving in? So clearly we've done a few things here. Let's go back to our center screen. Clearly we've done a few things to take us to a more clean code. So one of the things that I've learned, because I've been using a lot of this stuff at work, and when I say stuff, I mean coding assistants, coding agents. One of the things that I've learned is if you don't tell it something, if you don't tell it anything, it's going to assume or go from its base settings, right, or whatever the random configuration of its network during the time of your prompting is, and it will produce usually code that's sprawled, and that code that's sprawled sometimes is optimized to get more tokens. Not to distrust the cloud, not cloud, but agent providers, but so now we have to be, so some of those lessons learned is we really want to be deliberate about what we're requesting from the agent. Don't just tell it build this thing. Really think about how it impacts us in the future. Even if we're not seeing this code, is this AI optimized? Can another AI or a system of agents come in and feel at home cleaning up the code? So things we can ask is, are there proper boundaries and well articulated, if that's the right word to use in this situation, but AI is really good at guessing the correct word, so hopefully it understands my intention here. Are there boundaries and well articulated interfaces and contracts across? Let's also apply this to all coding in project. Okay. Avoid sprawl. Take lessons learned. Okay, so really pausing here, right, before we even move and start updating our waitlist and the other apps. We want to do what an engineer would do if they were doing this individually, which is as they're going, they're pausing and thinking about how pieces of code affect other parts of the code. So we want to ask our agents to do that, to be aware of that, right? And even though in this scenario, I'm putting complete faith in the agents, it's very low stakes, right? If the code is bad, I would just throw it away. I'm not gonna cry about it because I didn't do it. I basically fire the agent and start a new one, delete the project, recreate it. So yeah, so that's it. The goal is to start with a wait list. And then I might want to have a better organization around this in case there are, not in case, the goal is to have all of my app ideas developed here so that people can come in here, join a wait list and log in and test the app, right? And hopefully we can get to a place where we start to see some real traction and we really understand what it's like to depict what it's like to take an app from 0 to however many users. We're targeting 100K MRR, then I think daily monthly users probably of 500 Gs would be nice. Gotta think big, gotta believe, right? Believe. You believe small, you get small things back. If you believe big, you'll get big things back. So let's just see how this goes. Yeah, so while the agent is running through all of that, there's quite a bit of ideas that I have that I just want to build publicly. That's the purpose of this, right? To get people's opinions, to get some ideas too. and hopefully get some support, because I do want to build, one of the things that I want to do is to build my own version of like a Jarvis orchestrator or harness, right? That kind of with voice control updates and sets up different agents, right? Is it useful? Some people think it is. I just think it's fun, and the purpose of this part of this agentic journey is just to have fun, right? We get to a place where we're not frustrated, right? And we're able to move fast, and we're able to have guardrails so that we don't get frustrated as we're moving fast. Don't want to ship slop, and we don't want to move fast with slop, because fast slop is just sloppier slop. Okay, let's get back to our screen. The agent is still running, as you can see. It's checking the files, it's searching, making sure things are looking good. We're using Terraform. You saw Terraform. Terraform is the code that deploys the resources for us in this project specifically. Maybe one target. So what time is it? So we're at 16 minutes in. Maybe one target is for us to be able to send out a message, send out messages when an app is ready, right? Maybe a countdown for a test app, right? So we could probably do that in this session, and then we can start thinking about what we want to build. What's the first app we want to build? And then we can populate it in this and just see where we go from there. So that'll be the goal. All right, so this part is the boring part, right? So this is the part that's not so sexy, but I think it's a necessary part of agentic engineering. Everyone has their own style. Some people have skills upon skills. It's helpful to them. Some people iterate with very few additions. Some people download plugins. Some people have very specific methodologies. For the sake of this journey, we're just brute forcing. We're just iterating. Right? And if there are things that are being learned, we want to continue to compile those lessons. Whatever is making us move faster, more securely, more guardrailed, right? Because AI is like a train, and you just need to have the right train tracks, and it'll just keep going, keep moving fast. And I know a lot of people are building publicly, and I think that's a very powerful thing to do. It showcases your work. It helps you learn from your mistakes. It helps you interact with the broader community, and it's just a great way to I think it's an awesome resume builder too, and being able to communicate, because I know communication is so important. Being able to articulate your thoughts, communicate your decision making. And here's the thing about some of these agents is they take a while, right? Ideally, I'd have like one or two spinning up at the same time. Bam! Let's check out this second one here. Oh, gosh, it's getting late, guys. Dedication. We gotta do our best. Okay, so one of the things we wanted to do, we want to be able to ensure that we are able to actually send a message once in fact, I can start writing that up right now. So we want to make sure that we're able to send a message once the app is available, right? So we want people to be able to sign up, but at the same time, we want them to be able to to know when it's going to be available. So either they click in and maybe they are given a timer as to when it's going to be set, or if there's no known date yet, right? That's clearly stated. Perhaps at a certain point, we want them to be able to know what number they are in line. Super powerful. So if they're number one, they'll know if they're number one. Okay. Sorry for the yawning, guys. Getting late. But we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep pushing. Okay, so here's a summary of everything, right? We did some back end singleton patterns. That's what it was, design patterns. I wrote design architecture before, but I really meant to say design pattern. So there's some tests, right? And testing is so powerful. If you're vibe coding, do me a favor and add tests, right? I can't tell you how much time testing. It's just the gift that keeps on giving. It adds a guardrail, right? Some people just want to code like you need. If you know that you're going to ship anything that you want people to use, you need to have some kind of testing done, because it'll give the agent like a second look as to what it's doing, right? So it's thinking about the test that you set up initially, right? And it helps reduce regressions, right? I mean, not that you can still, because it's the same agent that's changing both, right? You can still introduce regressions. It's very possible. But when you have that test, at least I feel as though from what I've seen, at least the agent is aware, like, okay, I have to manipulate this test. I have to change these tests. Otherwise, they're going to be, I'm not going to be able to push code, right? So it's got to be intentional about what it is changing. You really got to know why. So here we go. Okay, so I think we're good in this scenario. I guess all that needs to happen is let's commit. Let's also add a hook for commit. That's fine. A hook for running commit toss with commit. You will probably want to commit often too, so you have a logical checkpoint to return to. For major changes, maybe a feature branch, so that you can have some logical milestone to return to. But it really depends, right? Okay. This is on me now. Let's go back to the app. So what I'm requesting is that we have hooks that run. So I told you how important tests are when it comes to agentic engineering or vibe coding. Now, every time we commit, we need a hook to immediately run those tests. I think agents are becoming smarter now that I remember once upon a time, they didn't even care about tests. And you can actually push broken tests. But now we are making it so that the agent, when it does that commit message, it's going to run the test and fix the test if it's broken anything. So that's where we are. I think I've got to talk through this. Man, see, that's why we need multiple agents. I'm just not entirely sure yet how multiple agents can play together, but I'm pretty sure I can begin testing that out. I want to make sure that there's no problems though. So I'm requesting, so while this agent is working, I'm requesting another agent to work on having a cleaner UI. that is user-friendly, minimalist, what's the word I'm looking for? Accessible, right? So we want to focus on accessibility. So something like WCAG 2.0. We want to make sure that we're not excluding people with different abilities. That's one of the things that I've had the privilege of experiencing at work. I'm working on a design system team, right, and having that exposure. It's something that from time to time I have to think about, right? We're not just creating for ourselves or people just like us. We are creating for an inclusive world, right, where everyone has access, right? So we don't want people to feel blocked. So this is probably in the second iteration, which is what I'll be working on now. We're going to have a clean UI. So let's update the, we're going to update the waitlist to be dark mode and have a way to have a clean UI that is user-friendly, minimalist, has accessibility WCAG 2.0. I think that might be too small, even 2.1 AA. I think it's 2.0. 2.0 double A. We want to be able to get a countdown to the release date. We want to be able to have an admin that can put these information in. We want to be able to have hundreds of apps, app cards. Perhaps a modal, not a modal, perhaps an app that shows some, perhaps a side nav or a sidebar slash nav that's allows us to select what's coming up versus what's released, etc. All right, so while all that is going on, let me see if this will work. Please, I haven't researched this. Please be advised, another agent might be working on this waitlist project. So please keep boundaries intact. Try not to overwrite their code. All right, so while that's working, let's go ahead and run this one. So let's go ahead and hit clear. Let's work on SNS. Actually, let's complete unit test. Let's just make sure that that quality is completely preserved. Let's ensure that really quickly. Okay. All right. We're going forward. So just doing some extra quality, right? Because we want to make sure that we're thinking about all of the things that people know sometimes get left, that get left by vibe coders, right? Right. If they're not paying attention to quality, right? If they're not paying attention to security, if they're not paying attention to scalability, these are things that will eventually come to haunt them. And we want to make sure that we're being intentional about what we're building. We're shipping fast, of course, that's the goal, right? This is as fast as one agent gets, right? Now I'm testing things out with 2 agents. We're just Let me just let this know. Be advised that there is another agent working in this code base. Try not to overwrite here. They stay within boundaries. All right, let's see. I think that kind of slows them down a bit, but let's see if that helps with better. Actually, all of this is experimental, so let's just see how this will work out. We're at the 30-minute mark. So the other agent is thinking hard. This one is now thinking hard as well. And they're both trying to, I guess, work out who's doing what. I don't know if they actually communicate with one another. Let me go ahead and, so let's see if I'm sharing this screen. Here's the right screen, right? And you can see that both of them are working, but now they're thinking. And maybe that's, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Could also just do some research too. Let's find out what's going on here. I don't know if that slows them down. So how do people get these like multiple agents on one code base? Do they just like say, hey, agent 1, focus on this part of the code. Agents 2, focus on this part and try not to touch the other code, because I think this is slowing things down now because it's still thinking. Can Claude agents work together on the same code base without overwriting each other's? Just doing a quick Google message. Okay, you need an orchestration tool. Shoot. Okay. That's good to know. So it's worth an experiment. Yeah, if we're not careful, this is just gonna be here. Actually, this one is starting to go again. All right, let's see if this is doable. This is just us testing a few things. So I told it, please be advised, another agent might be working on this waitlist project. So please keep boundaries intact and try not to overwrite their code. I'm going to pause you while the other agent finishes. Is that okay? And then I just said actually continue, and it hasn't responded since. Don't be shy. Okay, now they're moving. So now we have two agents working on the same project. I think it's probably a good idea to be more strategic about how they'll be working in the same code base. And one of the requirements could be, hey, here's the specific directory, and you can do that by just like opening your favorite ID and just having a mental folder structure, right? So that you can just say, hey, I want you to work focusing on this particular folder, right? So that it doesn't jump into other folders and accidentally write what one agent is writing. So we can kind of see where this will go once things continue to percolate in this between these two agents. I'm almost curious if one is writing right and triggers a failed test, if the other picks it up, do they get distracted? Do I need to prompt about that? So that's another thing. Okay, so it says, so this one's complete. It says all green. Here's a summary of what was added, right? So there's some back-end tests, some front-end tests, and that's really good. We want quality, right? And a big part of software engineering is tests, right? That's why we even have dedicated experts called SDETs, right? Software developer and test, or quality engineering, and their job is to ensure that production code is testable, and we're not shipping breaking changes, right? And so in the era of the agentic coder, you really ought to be thinking about tests as even at the very basic, at the very least, a unit test. So let's talk about let's ask it to. So we want to be able to email people once they've signed up, once they. We should probably add the ability for them to add their phone numbers, but we'll start with email to keep it simple. So when people sign up, we want them to know that they've signed up, obviously, right? Maybe a confirmation, that's one, right? We want them to be able to know when something is released, right? And we want a counter of some sort. Like once they click in, we want them to be able to see the number of days, like a countdown to the release of the product. And the waitlist is supposed to be the central location for all of these products. So we're going to say, let's introduce an ability your email. We want to secure it's where the user can be verified, right? So when a user is trying to sign up, they type in their email, right? That verification process needs to happen, right? Be verified. We want them to be notified when the app is ready. So we need a test. We need a test app with a release date of May 20th. We want them to be notified when it's released. We also want a countdown when the user selects the particular app and is directed to a detailed page for the app. We'll let that happen for a bit. While that's happening, we're going to come over to the right screen and we're going to see that I'm not sure why it's saying npm install. Now let's verify the existing waitlist model. Why are we npm installing? We using npm in this project. That's something to question, right? See? Good catch. So you're telling me that this thing didn't know that we've been using PNPM in this project, unless it's my fault and the PNPM wasn't for the whole project. It says there's a root level PNPM and node modules. The workspace is at waitlist, not inside front end. Let me check the root package to JSON. So that's the other thing, right? So we need to, since we're not looking at the code, we need to pay attention to what might be off. I think that's something that if you're just vibe coding, this is the real criticism, right? There's an art to being a software engineer that might be lost when you're using a probabilistic system like this, right? And let's quickly switch back to our other agent to see how they're doing. Yeah, what I've asked is a lot, and we're gonna see what they can do. But we're running two agents at the same time. In the future, I'd love to be able to run 5 agents at a time. Might be a lot for me though. We'll see. Okay, what time is it? Looking at the 40-minute mark. 40-minute mark. Hope everyone is doing good today, though. Hope you all are doing great. It's been a long day today. Been a long day. All right, so we're just gonna let these agents get to a good place. You want to make sure that they're doing their work correctly and paying attention to things that might be off. Right? There's a real skill now that everyone is being expected to move fast, unless you're in some kind of skiff, right? In some kind of cleared environment, and they don't want you to bring agents in, then you need to be able to have this discernment, let's call it that, about when you think things might go wrong. All right, so we have 46 tests passing, clean build. All right. All right, so okay, so that one's doing its thing. This agent is basically creating the ability for users to be notified about the app. This one might take a while. This is regarding the building of the notification system. And you can see that the cost so far, 30K token uses for 16 tools. I like this idea of being a token maximalist. I might say this a couple of times over the couple of future live streams. Right, the token maximalist means anywhere in the developer lifecycle, in the software lifecycle, where I can offload efforts to a token system, like coding agent, for example, I do that. Right, and I think that's what Jensen was talking about, where if you're an engineer making what $500,000 a year and you're not using at least 250K in token, are you really optimizing? Could he be biased because he's selling the shovels in a gold rush potentially? But it's amazing how much employers now want everyone to be using this, right? And they feel the existential facts, right? It's very much a threat to them because, or a threat to them to not use these tools, right? And so we need to be very flexible. We need to understand that the old world of development has gone by, and it's very philosophical, but you don't want to get left behind. I think if you're very passionate about being a specialist, I don't think I was ever passionate though. So I don't think I was ever passionate about the implementation side. I was more interested in the ideating, the architecting. And so, but if you're the kind of person who loves that part of the software development lifecycle, then my recommendation is to be a specialist. Continue to learn how to use the agentic tools, but don't lose track of those things that make you passionate about, because there will be times where that expertise is needed, where agents are doing 90% of the work, and you're the only one in the organization that can figure out the next 10% of the implementation side, right? Because you honed that human skill, right? So you get 90% you get 90% of the effort outsourced to agents, so that you can focus on the part that's really the pain point for the organization, for the company. Whether it's 10%, whether it's 1%, doesn't matter, right? So yeah, exciting times, right? A 12-year-old can build an app, right, without not knowing how to code, right? Once upon a time, you needed to be a coding prodigy. Now you don't, right? And I know for a fact someone out there is going to make a $1 billion company from just vibe coding, if it hasn't already been done. And so who knows, maybe from one of these app ideas that I'm going to keep iterating over, we might have our first unicorn, right? So nothing's impossible. Ooh, okay, so this is important. Okay, so it's fully aware that this is a big multi-system effort, right? It's going to touch the full stack. So the agent is reasoning about this. And if you're not, for anybody who's not too familiar, right, this is what we're talking about here, right? This is something that an engineer, a single engineer, might take a week to perform, right? The average engineer, I'm not saying the 10x engineers, right? But you can see it's thinking about the code, it's thinking about what it needs to do. Because I actually, that small thing I asked, there's a lot of, it's very open-ended, right? But we're just moving fast. We just want the agent to build it. It doesn't really matter whether how perfect or clean it is, right? You know, so this part is the part that got my attention, right? It's saying the other agent built significantly more than expected. So it's aware that this other agent over here, this guy over here, built quite a lot, right? This is where I asked it to really focus more on the user experience, right? Especially accessibility, right? And so coming back here, it's now checking these components before it's making any changes, right? And you can see the number of tokens being used. It's quite remarkable, quite remarkable. So once we have our first, once we have the first project built, the waitlist, we'll be able to add new apps to it, and that's the plan. Probably not going to happen tonight because we're already at the almost 50-minute mark. We're going to start to close. I just want to appreciate you guys for watching. This is the days of humble beginnings, right? This is just day two. So all of that was just for it to make a plan, and now it's going to add the launch day test app with the May 20th release date, right? And then it's going to add a card for navigation. Okay, yeah. It's going to have a detailed view, right? It's going to have a backend email verification endpoint, some email service from AWS. It's going to it's going to create these resources, and of course, there's going to be a test for the new code. Okay, so let me also think about this real quick. The user might want to know what number they are in. I think those are extra features. They just need to know they've joined. I don't think there's anything they need to. I don't think they need to know what. Yeah, those are just added features that we can add later. So I can take note of that. Write that down. All right. Next couple of days, I'm going to begin to iterate through on a bunch of ideas. Can start with very lean apps. My apps are never lean. They're always something grandiose. I was working on this AI chatbot, narrative driven, but you know, there are already things out there like character AI, and oh my goodness, the things people are doing in chatbots these days, very creepy. Let's put it that way. Okay, so here we are now. I guess it's still working through the code. Working through the code. I think this is going to be the last stop because of time. Almost at the hour mark. That's a pretty good job for today. Very disciplined. We made it. Made it, guys. We made it. While that's still doing its thing, I want to say thank you guys for being a part of day two. Day two, building in public, agentically vibing in public. Agentic vibing. That's a very interesting. So there's agentic coding, which is what I think I'm doing, which is really thinking about the parts that people don't think about when they're vibe coding. So I think I'll probably be switching between vibe coding and agentic coding. I might be wrong though, but what my understanding of agentic coding is having some engineering inclination while programming, right? So not completely offloading that to the AI. So having some thought about what you want how you want the AI to use engineering principles. Whereas with vibe coding, it's just you're living off the vibes. You're just telling the agents, create this, create that, create this, create that. And you don't pause to ask it about tests, about scalability, about infrastructure. You just, whatever it offers, as long as it gets the work done, you don't really care, right? Yeah, and that's where I'm like, what about some middle ground called agentic vibing? Yeah, so we're almost there. So one of the goals right now is to be able to have notifications on the waitlist for a variety of apps. Okay, so yeah, this is a very substantial project. I might have to test offline, obviously, but you can see there's quite a bit of resources being thrown right into the air here. It's a lot, and we've come a long way where these agents can go on for a long time. All right, they can go on for a long time with a simple instruction and just keep going. The fact that they don't need us to constantly tell them every single thing that needs to happen, or even if they do, they're not like hallucinating. Like I feel like the hallucination has dropped. Like the people who are really working on these architectures, the hallucination remediation architectures, whatever it is, they're doing a great, fantastic job because I've seen a great drop in hallucinations. Okay, so I think this is gonna be it, guys. I'm gonna let this continue to scaffold out the emailing system, and we're just gonna let it do its thing. It's building the infrastructure as code that's necessary to create the resource in the cloud. So we'll come back to that hopefully by tomorrow. Actually, hopefully in a few minutes it'll be done, but I'm gonna end this live stream now. I want to appreciate you guys. Remember, this is day 2. We've got a long way to go, and got a lot coming up, and I'm hoping that y'all can stick around. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Please remember to like, subscribe. See you guys in the next one.